There we go. Okay, welcome everybody to the Overthinking Football Show. I hope you guys are good. I do this every Monday to Friday, 12:30 in the afternoon, and then also Monday to Wednesday at 8 p.m. We'll also do some watch-alongs of the big three, Chiefs, Pirates, and Sundowns. But I let you know as we go into those matches if I am going to be covering them or not. If you do want to watch any of the other episodes that have passed, you want to know what the panels have been speaking about, what we've touched on in the past, they are available on Facebook and on YouTube, right? And also other content. I released a video on YouTube and on Facebook yesterday. So please do me a favor by supporting me there. Follow this account, subscribe to YouTube, and follow the page on Facebook. Okay, so I know, guys, it's not going to be another Chiefs episode. Last night we had a conversation where we spoke about the scouting and the development of players and the scouting programs and systems that exist to find players. Yesterday we focused a lot on the youth and how the youth is found and all of that stuff. Today I wanted to ask just a simple question. Are PSL clubs good at scouting? Good at transfers? Sorry, are PSL clubs good at transfers? Because we see what type of scouting programs and things do they have in place in order to get senior players into the club, whether it's existing players that they're getting in the PSL and whether they're going overseas maybe to go get them. And I want to use Mosimane as an example because Mosimane was brought into Kaizer Chiefs. We didn't know much about him. We didn't know where exactly he came from, how he did, where he was. He came in, he got his 8 goals, 5 of them were penalties, but a year later, he's gone, right? So Chiefs' scouts and all of that stuff went all the way to another country to bring in Mosimane, and it turns out that he wasn't a fit for anything that Kaizer Chiefs wanted to do. And this goes for many other signings within the PSL that are signed in, that are brought in, and then you wonder, oh, guys, what did you guys see when you went and signed this guy? It got so bad that when Mosimane now released, he broke the news as well on his Instagram account. He was saying, thank God, it was a bad decision to come. God has answered my prayers. He was saying all those things. So it just shows you that the fit wasn't there, right? And as Nkabitz is saying, he did come here on trial, right? He came to Chiefs on trial. Apparently, he was first turned down, then he was brought in, and he comes and he becomes a long list. Well, at least for Chiefs, I can speak more about Chiefs, at least for Chiefs, of players that we've brought in and it didn't work out, right? Think about Patrice, think about Austin Dube, think about those players that were brought in and they just couldn't get game time, they couldn't fit into the team. So what type of processes are followed when these teams are signing players, especially for teams that say they don't have money, right? Right now, we've got into Colombia and they've announced, for example, that we're going to get a Colombian striker who's going to come in, Gonzalez, right? So then you ask, that means that somebody scouted Gonzalez, somebody flew over to Colombia, somebody did all that stuff in the same vein that they found Abosaile, in the same way that they found a lot of those guys, spent money, flights, accommodation, I don't know what else they could spend to go there, and got the player. Now they come this side and you just see that, things are not working out. Or in the case of the smaller clubs, you'll find Guti, let's take an example. Cardoso didn't have a very good ending to his Chiefs career. Snapped up like that by Chipa. Is it Chipa? Spukune. Snapped up like that. And when he gets to there, you start seeing the deficiencies in his game. But then we call them experienced players and we speak about clubs needing to sign these guys, right? So I want to have a conversation today with the panel that's going to come on where we speak about those things, man, because I feel like at the top end, our clubs sign in jail. Like, I feel like we're signing South American players just to say that, we're signing South American players, right? And also think about the monies that are being spent for clubs that say they don't have money. How much is this Gonzalez actually going to cost us? How much did Castillo cost? And even though they might have been free agents at the end of their contracts, how much did it cost to bring them over? Right? The last example we saw was it Ualende, who cost 57 million, 56 million. So are the clubs lying to us when they say they don't have money to do it properly, right? But also, why are those resources being spent so recklessly in the PSL? So this is the conversation that I want to have today. I'm going to open up the lines. Remember that you have to be following me in order to request to join. On Facebook, if you're hearing voices and you're wondering where they're coming from, head on over to Overthinking Football on TikTok. Follow the account, join the live, and then you'll be able to add your voice to the show. Please follow if you have not followed, guys. Let me read some of these comments while I see who's jumping in. Okay, let's see. I don't see a difference between Caleb and Ranga. A very long list. But Twitter Caleb Ishuktini. Ubani gama lakhe bafethu. Gonzalez, I think the coach didn't know how to utilize the player based on the system he has. I really don't trust any player from outside the country that is brought by Chiefs. The Colombian is coming on loan. There we go. Our Caleb Haaland is gone. Swallows will play. They're totally lying. Okay, so let's see who's here, and we can speak about it. I think I'm going to do 2 panels today. We'll break it down into 2. And then we'll go from there. Let me do this. Okay, then we'll go from there. Okay. Tovizwe, welcome to the show, my brother. How are you doing?
My brother, good and yourself, man?
No, I'm good. I just want your general thoughts. Let's start with your general thoughts about PSL transfers, because they seem as though these teams, they just pick and choose in jail, like it's a lucky packet type of thing.
To be honest, with Sundowns, they're very particular about what they want and who they want. So whenever they get a player from outside, just rest assured that that player has a space in their team and they've scouted them enough. So honestly, I don't think Chiefs are injecting enough money on scouting these players. I think they just go see you once and then come back, but are you right? Or we are better? Because the type of players, I think the last international player we got was Umsona. I think after Umsona, it's been going down. Like all of these players they've been coming with, especially like our Kaizer Chiefs, they've been horrible, unfortunately. So I think it's either they changed their scouting team or they're not investing money as much as they used to before. Because before they used to get like proper players. We didn't even have to go to America or South America, wherever that was. We here go Valerina High or somewhere in Africa. We got proper quality players. And number 2, I think Chiefs have put themselves in a position of desperation. Like they are so desperate, you would see. Whoever they integrate into their team must function like this, or otherwise they must go. Because look at our development. Because you also mentioned on our development, right? We have, take Shabalala or Samgelozwane, put him in that Sundowns team or Pirates team. They will play very well, they will shine. But they're being introduced into a team that is, into a ship that is sinking, and they're still, according with South African standards, they're youngsters. So for them to function, it will be almost impossible, and they will just crumble under pressure. So we are not scouting enough, and we are in but I saw him even in his national team. It was never going to happen. It's not just pressure achieves, it's just not there. There's nothing in there. But teams like our Pirates brought in that player, Unda. That is a quality player, bro. So you can see that player was well scouted. They took their time. They knew what they needed from him. It's just that he was injury prone last season, and you were excelling, so I think it's difficult for him to come back after that. But other than that, Sundowns, Pirates are doing well in bringing these players, and then other teams are doing well in taking teams from Pirates, Sundowns, Marajak to a corner. So I don't know, because this Kukuni will take anyone who Pumak Sundowns or Chiefs that they will just take. So
no, I hear you, my brother. I want to bring to Agent. Agent, I know it's tough because your team always is generally a good signing team, right? But let's look at these things. What are your general thoughts about PSL transfers?
Yeah, I think before I go to the topic of the day, I just want to say, you know what? The referee in South Africa is appalling, guys. It's very, very appalling. And in the words of this Kukuna coach, that was a clear push, man. That was a very, very clear push, man. Like, I don't know. But and I think it ties to the point that I wanted to make with regards to player selection and player scouting and player profiling, And it's a point which is like, I feel like now it's a song that I should compose, We don't invest enough in certain areas, How can we have amateur referees refereeing in a professional league? Why can't we invest in our referees and have them full-time referees, full-time? They work from 5 to 7 in the morning,
we'll talk
and
about
to that,
referees.
And it goes to a point that I wanted to make is like, are we investing enough in player dynamics? Are we investing enough in player profiling? It's not about coming in, can you score goals? Yes, can you score goals, but for the team that you're playing, are you the star man? Yes, but when it comes to Chiefs, are you the star man? No. Are you good enough mentally? Are you as player profiling? Are you investing much in that, or we just go to the games and say, well, he scores goals, it's fine. He scored 8 out of 9 goals, so it's fine. So, and again, it also goes back from the scouting department that like the Chiefs. Let me give an example. Like Chiefs. I think if the last time I checked, the head of scouting was the former head of scouting at Sundowns. The guy who brought Abu Sirino and stuff. So did he all of a sudden go from from good to bad at Chiefs? So I think it then goes back to the point that I wanted to make is, if you're investing so much in players, and coaches, and is it not time also to invest time and energy into key positions like strikers? Chiefs have had so many good strikers. Is it not time to bring in such kind of expertise that you bend your run? When you're dealing with a fast player, that's what you do. That experience, and not just experience from legends, but also experience from coaches. We have set piece coaches nowadays. We have goalkeeper coaches. If you recall the name of this guy, was the goalkeeper coach, who's now the head of Dana something.
Dinkaraka.
Yeah. He produced about Spider-Man, Spider-Man. He's back. So you had to bring an old man out of retirement to produce another Kuni. He was chilling with his grandparents there. So I think it goes back to what point that I wanted to make. That is it a question of scouting and not doing that job, or they're doing that job? The problem is the coach. The coach just can't improve players. And you made a point about Okadusu. So I think there's levels for this. There is Sundowns, Chiefs, Pirates level, and then there is Super Sport, what level, and then relegation level. So I'm not gonna be harsh on people like Abos Kukun and everything, people who feed on crabs. Look at teams like Super Sport. Super Sport always has that one star which they develop. Always that they develop. Is it a question of they have better scouting network on the ground? Do they watch more Kaizer football or what? So I think a team has to choose that, as a team, I'm a middle team, so I'm going to have to take players from development, or players from a Kaizer. And you bring a network of players from Kaizer, like in each and every Kaizer or municipal, you should have at least a head of an agent there, And teams like Chiefs, I'm always disappointed with the Chiefs and Pirates. Like Sundowns would spend money for, I know some would say it's a luxury trip, but those go to players, would go to World Cups, coaches would go to World Cups, would go to this tournament, will go all over the world, you know. And like Urlano Olex likes bragging about the friend, the analyst friend from a top team. You interact with people, you know. And I'm sure Sundowns just didn't pick Allende in J. You know, someone said, hey, this guy failed at Arsenal, but doesn't mean he'll fail at Sundowns. You know, we need those kind of connections. So yeah, I think it's a connection issue, it's a marketing issue, and it's a money issue, and coaching.
Okay. Let me bring in Usbupela. Welcome to the show, my brother. How are you doing?
Sure, brother. How's it?
No, I'm okay. We're going to start it off here. What do you think about PSL transfers in general?
In general, I'll take Bashabantum Vargi Mix Masada. Was a popular area re how to recover in your coin, whatever about
Yeah.
There's no direction with the scouting agents or anyone will like is involved and is in charge, especially with Chiefs, because now the errors they don't like you see them doing. I remember 2 days ago, or is it 3 days? I'm not sure. There was a time you asked Jorge, actually, the tactical side of each and every team, Banakana in, and what is it? This is where we should improve. Because that's where I think the team starts. If I'm going to go out and fish for a player, for example, their Chiefs, I should get a player along for Etrogela easily with and train a philosophy of Chiefs. But if the notice like would never do that, then it's a problem. Understand? So how do they do those scouting and then half Itamutu is a different person and then Bamunka I know a sharp guy. You should not bring someone who's wrong for in Jamudorana. Understand? That's a professional level. They should be professional. But closer to one, it's worse and worse, man.
Okay. I hear I'm gonna come back. Abut Napoleon, welcome to the show. No, I Nakishapu. Orenka, how do you feel about PSL transfers in general?
I would Nekopa dumedisa le panel. I wanna transfer tsa rona ba fit. Like kuna le in show ya how mabana ka gona o kena late, but ke mametse di views ka sheba. Ha no bua ka di transfer, ha no bua ka di scouts. Ne? Ke kopa o botsa nna South Africa as a whole. Hona ne go this generation into the develop so they cannot buy go tema by the scout. Don't you have Allende go tem? Don't you have Allende go Val?
But we don't have
KZN in Soweto. We have those people. I'll go back to Chiefs. Ne? Chiefs ibile le Pirates balonela this guy ke mang Shaka Zulu.
Spelelem Temp.
You know, na le time le le dulang ka iko ena daily ne. Bablanga na spana da ku Kaizer Chiefs ne le drive. Time le ke lona le bile la lanka mfalo la mfitla. La tlo mfitla mo ena daily. Ne re dula le ena mo. Ha o tswa spana ne jima kaofela. This Pelelem Tumbo. Pirates antse mo batla. Aya ko Chiefs. When that guy? Anna Tokoma respect. What did he do that guy? Nothing. Aya ko Pirates. When
Akere didn't get to play for us. He played pre-season for us and then Pirates Amunka because of contract, ne?
Yes. When that guy? I really don't understand. We would waste money. We were on sell Chiefs, sell Pirates, Sundowns, we were Colombia, we were South America, we were the player. We waste the chele, they were 57 something millions on that. So we be requiem to at Lodul. Yes, we do have those things. And I don't want the players to go fair. Elders who used to produce, give us 10 Fredericks. But you net hardly. Like the scouts had this. What happened to School of Excellence? The scouts are Kaizer Chiefs, Benyamang, Pirates, o latile ke man wa ko Cameroon ba ra kgone le bua sekgowa. He doesn't even kick a ball, that guy. What happened? Sundowns it tlatsa di-player tse ngata. I really don't understand, because we waste money. And Chiefs the Pirates, they used to produce young guys. O sure hona gantlanje mo Mzansi re tshwe ke ba khala. E sentse unkile Jabupile amtisa go Chiefs. He became a star. China Mason, o tswa ko Vaal. He's a star, mara zanga dlala ko Pirates. Steve Collier. You name those guys. Rena le bona ntwana Isaac Shai feletse ke. So Mzansi, it shows Mzansi we do not have anything. I'll just take you to 2018 World Cup. Who's the president? Yeah, Croatia. Honano. Kisuka again. Yeah. Kisuka. Suka was playing in 1998. The strikers are Croatia. A deadly strike. Rona came on president Aaron. President Aaron came a second. Jordaan. Lucas Khatebo Rona why le Dr. Kumalo le bo mam ba khwela ka mathe ba why man? It shows all the countries they give other people chance. Now we used something to embrace Abu A2. He's a president. Is this Rona? What about us? That's why we want to lead the scouting Rona. Foot we're not scouting, and I don't believe we scout. We just go and look at that player, monitor that player, then we take him. I'm gonna jump in there. I'm gonna jump in there and come back. I'm gonna come back. There's some questions that I need to ask for time. All right. Obviously, I'm gonna come back to you. I wanna ask you, how much does let me put it. How do I put it? Do teams know what they need to do? Do they know what philosophies their club play? Do they know what players are going to fit those philosophies? Do they know what coaches are going to fit that philosophies? And how much is that influencing it? Because our teams, change our coach every day. There's a new coach, right? Surely that's going to affect some of the transfers and the transfer strategies.
Okay. On the level of Abolo Kunjana. Okay, even at the so-called smaller team, I remember Golden Arrows used to have like a proper philosophy. We knew how they played football. We knew the kind of coaches that they had. So I don't know whether it's money or it's desperation that they've lost all of that now. They're just playing just to finish the match. They don't have no identity. They don't have no direction. They're just playing. But coming back to the bigger teams, with Sundowns, I won't count.
Can't say too much about them.
Yeah, they've been stable, same coach, same philosophy, same everything. You come to Pirates and Chiefs; those are so-called big teams in South Africa. They're desperate for winning, and right now, then they're not cultured as they used to be before. So they are more result orientated. So if you go to them now and say, "This is my CV. I was coaching in Afghanistan. I won 105 matches and drew one, and that's my record. I won so many trophies." They will take you because I don't think about Oshincha Kulufu Saibugi game. Before Chiefs had like a way of playing. We knew what we're gonna have a Skarangovese, or we're gonna have a Jabupule, or we're gonna have a Stintin Fred. But we had those star players. We had flair. We were playing with so much flair. If you watch the development, the Idiski Challenge team, it still has that. It's an but it's so difficult to promote a player of, let's say, Umfundo, and then also Khoza Umidindop. Can you see now the difference? Umidindop is results orientated, is more technical, Ufunukala a certain way, and you getting all of these white coaches, our boys above Qatanga and Escole, they don't even understand the half of those instructions that are being given to them. Next thing, they are frustrated by a puzzle. So Lendo Le would say, you don't have a philosophy as a team. Obviously, you're just going to hire anyone and everyone who has a good record. And even your scouting will be so poor. who's this Ubext Ati Hamanola is Tab. Like, why is Tab? What can Tab do? There's nothing. He can't pass, he can't shoot, he can't defend. There's nothing he specializes on. But because Asinayo, we've lost that culture as a team. Says Vumanumayin, like, oh, bring him, it's fine. Bring him, it's fine. We're no longer that team. So our scouting, like, that's why we can bring in anyone, Njengamanje. Like, anyone can come and play for Chiefs. Like, if I'm scouting Njengamanje, I'm sure we can figure out a hotel and buy Osis Lapistratine, and then Ksasang is in a player. Chiefs won't say no, don't. He doesn't fit our team. They will just take him because we don't even have a structure. We're just a team that plays. Yeah, because our South African players especially. Yeah, I mean, I was not gonna go and sign Upe Minyama, who's this boy Odlalo MTC, Utuba. I mean, why am I not grooming Utuba and giving him 15 minutes per match and see what he can give me, rather than calling back someone I rejected? I saw him for trials. I rejected him. Why am I calling back now? Because I saw that it doesn't fit my philosophy. So it's just a sign of desperation. It's just a sign of not having direction. So our South African players were too. There's a certain way that we play football, and Abo Mshin Ektrotal, Abo Toleza, they understood it. That's why they excelled at Chiefs. So, manje, these coaches, but hey, you're confusing my players. You look this side, you pass that side. I swear. That's how we play in South Africa. That's how South African players excel. That's how Abo Skilo and who's Serrero excel overseas, because they just play their way of playing. Islander, Yomkom, Abo kick on hope, Abo Haaland, the plan kind of football. I swear.
Let me begin Agent 007. Agent 007. There's always chopping and changing in management, chopping and changing behind the scenes. Mamila is technical director today, the next day is the coach, tomorrow he's at Swallows. Today we have a certain Unsek is the technical director, but now Kaizer Jr. is coming in and he's the sporting director. And when you look at the way they sign, all of this chopping and changing is reflected. Do these teams know exactly what they want to do in the long term in order to make sure that their recruitment and maybe even the development and how everybody plays suits a certain style? Or are we going to carry on saying when a coach comes in, he needs to come in the 7 players. When a technical director comes in, he needs to get rid of 8 players and bring in 10. How much does that play into all of this?
Well, yeah, I think, let me ask you this question. I think before our company at Bentley, if someone was to ask you, Bentley, what is the first thing that comes to your mind?
Defensive set pieces.
If someone talks about Southampton, if someone talks about Brighton now, you think, wow, counter-attacking football, expressive football.
Yes,
so I think the problem is, as a team, you have to define yourself. You may not like it, you may not agree with it, but Chiba himself has defined himself. You know what? I'm a coach team, I don't have philosophy, I don't have style, I don't have anything. I'm dependent on coaches and I want the results. That's everything for me that I want, So I think it has to go back to a club has to define itself. If you're a coach person and you're saying you're a coach for 3 years, you cannot sign players on contracts for more than 3 years. There must be 2 years and below, because you know myself that, what, this coach, I don't have a style of play, I don't have anything, I'm just going to be depending on this coach, So I'm signing his players, the players that you want, and if he leaves, he can leave with his players, and then I can bring another coach. Or you can say, you know what, I as Uskukuni, I'm a defensive team, I want to play defensive, whatever coach that I'm bringing must be defensive coach, must know how to set up a pass or a triple attack, a pass or whatever, that's me. So I sign players each and every season who are good defensively and who can hit you on a counter-attack. I don't know who is the coach, I don't know who he is, but I know the coach is going to improve that defense and he also really has the players, And I think that, to come to that point, it comes back to the most important position in the team, It's not the coach, it's partly the management, but I think is the sporting director or / technical director.
Mm.
You must have a technical director who says, you know what, this as a CEO, as Chipan Penges, you know what, I respect you. You are the owner. You own millions, but you know what, you are just a security guard. You know, if it comes to security, I'm one person that I can rely on. You know, but when it comes to football, leave everything to me. You know, and I think people should or teams should start spending more time on that technical directors or sporting directors, whatever the case is. Then those people can define the team, you know, with help of the management. The management have to say, you know what, I want my team to be counter-attacking. Then the technical director can say, okay, fine, I'm going to find a coach. The youth setup is going to be like this, like this. When Uklopi got in, he said, you know what, I don't want Sundowns to always be a buying team. I want to develop my own players. He brought in a sporting director who's used to development, you know, and that guy said, you know what, I don't want a player who is under 19, who's 18 playing for under 19. All of you who are under 19, we loan you, we sell you, we do everything to you, but an under 19 player must be 15 or 16. 15 or 14. You know, so that's the role of a technical director, you know. But some teams, they reflect that technical directors. You are bringing in Junior. What has Junior achieved? He was an okay football player, but does he know the how to run a football team in terms of academy, scouting, everything in between, you know? And I was listening to Orulani yesterday. He said, I've spoken to Fleming and the board and everything that I need this, and this, and I've left that to him. You know, he's gonna decide. And I have a feeling that Fleming's influence is the one which made Sundowns go to Holland. You know, so that's my point. That, you know what, we need to invest maybe in the technical director, and then we can take it from there. Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, and cheers, man. I need to bounce. It's that time of the month.
No stress, my brother. No stress. Let me go to Usmupela. Rechincha. And it's not just coaches, it's also within the PSL, always chopping and changing. And it seems as though even when they make decisions about coaches, who can a Truta, then who can a Tentens, who can a Kevin, and they're all different people. Do these teams know, or is it just up and down in J? And how much does that factor into all of this?
Well, I think it affects everything from the players, parking, benching and stuff in terms of the decisions they make. I understand. I know there was a brother here. He said if Khotla coach Ilongkura says I won 110 games and I drew 5, okay, sweet. You take that person based record I get fine. Is he playing the style of football, sir? Nah. He's not. He's playing a different thing. Like we know, this is not what we are going to go through with. As a footballer, it will last forever. As much as now they are gunning for the results and points and stuff, you cannot gun for results and points when you don't have a solid structure behind you. There should be that solid structure. Goes down for it. Even when my scouters go out by Lovata player, they want to come back with something solid grand. If a coach will sit down and discuss and come up with a relevant solution, if as a coach, what is it as bad? I know they bring the coaches, how feed a 3-year contract. Within no time, via chat. Do I understand? Okay, fine. So we understand that. But it starts from Komrao. Which decision did you make as a technical director, as everyone? Linking a decision on top of someone like Alena, a solid base on saying, this is the person we trust. You're going to invest in him. We'll make sure for whatever I understand. Libita Mutu. I don't want to say this word, but I'll say it. But you go a person and say, revamp the team. When it comes to taba tsa gore sentse re zogala di-team tse ba re keng di-playera tse dintšha tse e leng di tlo tlisa flavor ko teaming le energy, you don't do that. You don't. A le mo rekele di-playera le batla di-playera tse e leng gore di suta lona personal. Actually, if you can check, the scouters tsa di-team, they are scouting for themselves, not for the team.
Okay.
So it counter everything.
Yeah. Okay, no, I hear you. Let me go into with Napoleon. Same question to you. How much does changing everything every season affect it, Pella? If you look at Chipa's gone through 39 coaches in the last 9 or 10 years, and we know about the technical directors. One day Morgan Mamilaki CEO, the next day he's not. One day Bobby's in charge of the team, then it's Kaizer. One day Uzungu, somebody's the CEO, Chinchama CEO, Chinchama director. How much do these things affect these teams and transfers?
I would, when it comes to chop and changing, ya ibola ya diski ya rona abuti akbatlo chaila maka bona Chiefs. Do you think Mlifinseki is gonna bring those glory days for Chiefs?
Hey, I don't even know what to think of Mtseki at the current moment in jail.
Bona ke manta to Rickson Lilemi wa cheap or the confidence too. Oh, Bafit. 39 in 10 years. Pirates, he changed the Bomutombo, Bomutombo, you name them, Bafit. I will not pele. Chop and changing are never because Mutulu Otale style as a high. At the end of the day, the player their cover 10. And first 11 a pusher, the substitute sharp, Wafita and our changer, Olata mang, Atlilien, Omukenya. I understand. Parents went twice to Africa. Karocha Tisali, Lili think. After more, what happened? I understand that too. They bring a coach also, what the strategy says so, why change? Kiko Pawot, Junior in. Junior as he didn't even kick a ball, go suffer. My time I like a legend. Where's Andago Chiefs? Then I just want to know where's Alanda. We knew Chiefs was the only team called PSL, Les Swallows would bring the Ntwana in Trim. Believe it or not, Chiefs. There's no way. Ona no Shabalala boma, Saliboma. Ona no, they say who's this guy Dolly, Valke star player. Ngara Zanga oversees that boy. You are Lankate. Ngara Santo Kole Capella Chile. Shabalala, I never asked like that's a correct. Can I look like a Shabil and Twana Eline? Yeah. You know, Shabalala Kisamkelo. Give those boys a chance. Paris Lona in Albona Bafana Babanyani. At least Rato Mon album Fukin album Razan. But development Arona Buti. Ayo. Akbato Chadamak. There's a boy there. There's a young boy, Bamitsama Vilagas.
Yeah,
he's a young boy like MTC. Banalum Kenya, Achimeli first team. You can see clearly Chiefs that boy is a star player. But I will tell you one thing. Yeah, chop and changing. It will never ever bring PSL into a happen. DSTV or whatever or Mnet. Or fan. Because we just watching soccer because there's a brand where it's on cheese, there's a brand where it's on Paris. There's no more soccer. They're not hungry, but one I would.
Ritawina Makufe. Let me bring in Black Butterfly. Black Butterfly, welcome to the Black Butterfly, welcome to the show, my brother. How are you doing? Are you still with me, Black Butterfly? Oh. Okay, no, it's fine. We'll come back to you. Guys, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to let the first panel go. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Let me bring in some other guys and we can discuss some of the other facets of this thing. So let me bring in, Vele. It works out. Bye. Sharp. Duff, welcome to the show. How are you doing, my brother? How, guys? Is it me? What's happening, guys? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. I guess Butterfly, I'll start with Ndlela. I want to speak about our resources because every day bangitshela ngama resource. The teams don't have money, the teams don't have this. Chigi Chiefs is bringing people from South America. Chigi, the small teams are signing expensive guys or experienced expensive guys. How much does resources play into our transfers? Because angiboni lento that they're speaking about, that it's about money and things like that.
Bingalele lapho uthini panel. You know, for Kaizer Chiefs, especially signing their player lela elinegama le-Wi-Fi password. I don't know. I can't even pronounce it.
Also, F Machasont or something like that.
Aye, man. Aye. You know, coming into our resources, Chiefs have everything, guys. Now I can say what Chiefs in Iman. Chiefs is only fooling us in the mirrors, like they tried to buy Abumukwena the season before last. They tried to buy Abumbu, and then they claimed to go to those players to Chiefs don't have money or whatever. Chiefs in Iman. Chiefs, guys, is the most resourceful team like Africa. They have everything. They have the best training pitch. Our resources, the Chiefs, they have everything, the best media. Now, the problem is now, I don't know if they are lying whenever they're going to say Abanamal, but they can go to Colombia and scout ama players and then bring those players here. The Chiefs is doing the same thing that the Sundowns is doing. The Sundowns now, but they do go to South America and bring up Ireland. The Kaizer Chiefs now did the same thing, and then they did the same thing. They scouted Abu Nokovic 3 seasons back. So, just to go to Sundowns, they're doing right to manage these players, and they have a proper system, right? So, my resources are lingana. Yes, some other teams don't have much resources. I'm gonna count my top 4 teams that have the best resources in South Africa. It's Kaizer Chiefs, it's Orlando Pirates, mamelodi Sundowns, and then ngizobala ne Super Sports, right? Ama teams, yes, they're gonna fall back. Like, look at the matches Cooking United and the Swallows. Being an fans, you'd swear ama teams like they don't have fans. The only time they have fans is when they are gonna play Kaizer Chiefs. That's when you see ama fans and be like, the team in ama fans. Can't it's always ama fans the Chiefs. So it's one of those things. Ama team in terms of ama resources. Look at ama social media pages of some teams go DSTV Premiership. The team is over 15,000 followers, but the team ego DSTV Premiership. So it's one of those things. Some teams, yes, they don't.
Just a follow up. Guti, my team, the smaller teams. Okay, let me ask it in two. So we know about the well-resourced teams, about Sundowns, about Pirates, about Chiefs, and we know that, like for example, the Chiefs, my side, they don't do well, even though they've got the money. Now, on the smaller teams, but they're bringing in experience, but the players don't match, they don't play well, they don't gel with the team. Shouldn't Lava, who don't have resources, aren't they the ones who are meant to, decision they're meant to be the best decisions because they don't have money. But Nabobaya flop are the same way. Isn't that, man? How do you make sense of that?
You know, that's the problem. These so-called smaller teams, they rely on AMA rejects coming from bigger teams. That's their problem first. Now, but they are not producing enough. The only team that I'm seeing now that is producing AMA product trouble, it's Stellenbosch. Stellenbosch is doing very well. Now they just sold Abu Makanya. Like Bona, they are doing well. In terms of our smaller teams, I'm not going to compare them to Nabo Sundowns because of them. They are smaller teams. So, our teams and they're always going to sign Ama reject, and also Napomazul. They're always going to sign Ama reject. And the Captain City now, it seems like now you see Angena look at the code of signing Ama reject. So, it's one of those things. They are not trying to improve from, they are not even using what they have. Yes, some of my team, they do have so-called reject players, but some players are still best players. But now they are not utilizing those players enough. It's like they take a player and jail, like a player Libuya Chiefs. Maybe it's gonna score 10 goals here because of Chiefs are scoring. They are always taking a chances now. Look at the Chipo United. They have former Orlando Pirates players. They have Abo Mulenga, Abo Memele. Those used to be best players. Right, but going to Chipo United, they are gonna just play in J now because of they know which Chipo United is not even a big brand and there's no way near, like they are nowhere near of becoming a big brand. So now my players, whenever they go there, they have a mentality of which we're just going to a small team. I mean, I'm used to playing Kaizer Chiefs. I'm used to playing Guto Derby. So coming to now Ngidlala Mazulu, I'm just gonna play in J day and enjoy my game. They are not even like and it's not their problem to try and improve the team. People who should be improving their team is our sporting directors, our technical directors. So these players are just coming there now but to earn money. So one is just to earn money there. Look at some team name, like even the Chess Galaxy now. They signed Abo Kaboza, they have Abo Parker, but they are still gonna end up not reaching to top 8. So it's one of those teams.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me bring in Tsepai. Tsepai, welcome to the show. How are you doing, my brother? Oh, what's going on? Tsepai. Okay, we'll jump to Black Butterfly. Welcome, my brother. How are you doing?
I'm good, and you guys?
No, I'm okay. I wanna continue this conversation by asking about the resources. So I want to make it a two-part question. On the one side, you have teams that have resources, Kaizer Chiefs, Pirates, Sundowns, maybe SuperSport. You have those teams. And you find, even with the resources they have, Chiefs. Let's go Chiefs. They still miss when they're busy finding players to come play for the team. What causes that? And then the second part of the question is the smaller teams, right, who don't have the resources. Why are they not more strict? Because they don't have resources. I always use the example of, if I'm broke, I'm going to buy bread. If I have bread money, I'll buy bread because I know it can last me for X amount. I'm not going to go and buy an expensive chocolate, right? But it seems as though the smaller teams aren't using the little resources they have properly. What causes these two things in your mind?
Look, if you look at it, firstly, any team, before you can go and buy and scout, because even what's the definition of scouting? I can say a player is good now. I can determine, okay, he's got this ability, he's got this ability. Yeah, this boy is good, Ekasi, or whatever the case is. Until your team does not have identity in terms of how they play, what style of football do they play? If your team doesn't have identity, what are you scouting? So now that's the thing with Chiefs. We lost our identity. Let me tell you what, before, if you look at Chiefs over the years, even when I was growing up, you had your main striker. Yes, football has evolved, but Chiefs always used to have similar striker. When you replace someone, you replace him with similar player. You had your Kenny Nimar, you had your Pauline Ndlanya. All those guys, they knew what that was a certain type of player, and then they had certain other players playing around them. You know, these guys have the same quality. So you look for that when you have an identity. Now you just sign a player, you don't even know how he plays, where he fits. He was playing well in his team because that's his team's identity. If you look at these guys, Cape Town City, Danzan and them that we bought, etc., etc. Look at everyone from how many players hasn't Cape Town City banked in on, basically. They made them good players. Go to Sundowns, they go to Chiefs, and then we're wondering, and then this guy was player of the season last year, was doing well, because they fitted into Cape Town City style of football. Cape Town City, they knew this is what we play, this is how we play. So they know what to look out for when they go to these Kasi tournaments, whatever the case is. They know where to buy it. And then when they do buy one PSL reject from Sundowns, they're basically buying a player that they wanted back then, but he still fits in their style of football. So they just slip back into that style of football again. So that's why I'm saying with Chiefs, etc. And I think Sundowns, because of their technical director, I'd assume, they know what to look for in terms of their scouting, because I think so far their imports have been working. Yes, others, they just buy them also to kill other clubs and weaken the opposition, and that's why you find some of them benching, you know what I mean? Your Mbule comes from SuperSport, he was starred SuperSport, But SuperSport is a competitor now, so let's cut that off. Bring him in. He'll sit on the bench. We'll just say he needs to wait for his place. But then you find now there are foreigners coming in. They know what type of football to play. They know what they're looking for because it's in their identity, and therefore they are able to continue. Why do you think Norkovic was relatively successful at Chiefs? It goes back to our identity. That Polen and Lanya type of player, your Kenny Nimach type of player.
Okay.
Because that was the type of player we were looking for. That's why he was successful at Chiefs. Do we have that now? Possibly not. We don't have. We're changing our style of football now, but in that transition where we're struggling to identify what is it that we actually want, what type of player. Why do you think Nengo Masha? We keep praising him. He'll always be a Kaizer Chiefs hero because we relied on a certain ability. And now what happens? We're seeing it in Castillo. He's got that Nengo Masha in him. Hence he's successful because he's part of our identity and what we would have perceived as our style of football. You know what I mean? So those are the things that, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
I hear you. You don't have identity. You can't scout. What are you scouting? You're just buying players who are on the headlines every week and who the fans are saying, we need that one. We need that one.
One last, very quickly. Do you think the PSL teams lie to us about these resources that they say they have or do not have?
I wouldn't say they lie because it is relatively clear. I mean, you can Google now how much stipend they get every month, etc., right? So I wouldn't say they're lying. Obviously, with their sponsors, we don't really know, but we also need to look at how much it actually costs to run a club. You can't compare Kaizer Chiefs to Richards Bay. Different level. You can't compare it to a Royal AM where the owner is basically funding the team, and where you have now a Maritzburg. They struggle to get a sponsor. They technically dependent on PSL stipends. So for the smaller teams, I would believe them when they say they don't have. The bigger teams, if they say
some of the spending they do doesn't make sense.
Remember, Chiefs doesn't necessarily. That's why we were always classified as free agents, because now what they do is they're not willing to pay 20 million upfront and then give this player 600,000 every month. So what they do now, they then say, okay, let's try and get him for free, and they lure players with a higher salary. So obviously, me as a player, I'm not going to worry with the sign-on, because that sign-on gets cut in so many different places. My agent taking 30%, the club taking this amount. So whereas Chiefs now come and they lure you with a bigger wage instead of a bigger sign-on. Say, okay, come, we'll give you 700,000. You look at that extra 200,000 over the next 2 years. It's a saving for Chiefs. It's the business model. But that's why you'll never find Chiefs really going out there. And we shouldn't expect, because it's not going to happen. It's not their style of business to say, let's buy a player for 30 million, 25 million. Sundowns did it when they bought that record signing from, where was it? There was that
from South America. Ireland.
And how much did he cost? That's record
56.
fees. We're never going to do that. You know what I mean? But that's basically their prize money from Champions League. So they know, we're paying for this. We'll make up for it next year. So it's how you manage your finances.
Okay. No, I'm going to come back on that one. Dove, are you with me? Hi, Dove. Okay, I'm going to...
network.
Yeah, it must be network. Let me disconnect him and bring in Ubutlare.
So-
let's talk about our resources. I think the question for me comes down to, if I don't have money, I have to spend my money well. If I do have money in a corner, I still have to spend well, right? And for me, my PSL teams, it doesn't make sense for Chippa United, TS Galaxy, whoever, Sikukune, to buy 10, 11, 12 players and pay 10, 11, 12 salaries, but they don't fit a team in Yako. And then it also doesn't make sense for Kaizer Chiefs to, maybe we don't get Ukapinga, let's say. We don't get Ukapinga today. But then, because we didn't get him, we have to sign 5 players on top of him. And maybe it adds up to whatever we were going to spend to try get him in the first place. Tell me about Lamar resources with PSL, because it doesn't make sense.
You know, our resources, sometimes it depends on how it's financially, which engine. So amama teams, yes, financially they are strong. Amama teams financially they are struggling. So I'm gonna start going example in Kaizer Chiefs. Chiefs is doing the same thing as maybe we there's a sports scene and Leo Air Force it's maybe 2000. And then whenever you're going to a wood meet, you get the same for Air Force near 1000. So Chiefs is doing the similar things. Instead of buying the low player near 2000, but they are gonna go for Lil 1000, right? They are always looking for discounted prices for kuma players. Yes, it's Sundowns, but they can buy player in 56 million, 56 million. But the Chiefs, bona, they always believe good. There's always the same player. They'll cost Sundowns are saying it, but costing less. Right, because of bona, they believe what bona ama resources wabo are well, like bona, they do have ama resources maybe all over Africa, which is not true. Ama resources in terms of ama scouting, because of ama resources wabo it's there ama scouting. And coming to ama teams lawa amancane lawa awethu, like I said before, ama resources bona wabo are very limited. Like they have limited resources. For example, have a rich owner. You can say owner a rich, but even though a rich, they still fail to pay ama players such as Abonokovic, imali ababakolota yona, and then they still gonna buy ama reject from other teams. They abo Happy Gel. Look, Happy Gel didn't even make 10 appearances, but he's already gone. So, Bona,
That's
yes,
why that's why question him is more of fine. Let's say they don't have they okay. Mastalinga Chiefs. Let's say Chiefs doesn't want to buy the 3,000 rand Air Force, ne? Fine, but then they go buy a Skechers. Let's say, but take a Lelo Skechers for 1,000, and Lelo Skechers it doesn't work out. Then they have to buy another one. Then they have to buy another one and buy another one. Utologuti now they've spent as much as maybe they would have spent if they bought Lelo Air Force first chuck. So isn't that a problem, Guti? It's fine, you don't want to buy this one, Mara. Now you've had to go through Njabulo Ngobo, Austin Dube, mang, in order to get to Msimao. You get me? For example.
Yeah.
And then Gulao Mangane. But it's almost like they're telling us, the small teams are telling us, Sine 500 rand. But we're buying players and saying, I'm a mistake, we're 2,000. Instead of doing research as a team enganama resource, fine is funama reject, but we have to make sure that this reject fits into this team because we can't afford ugenzi mistake ngalama reject, but we find them doing it all the time.
You know, that's the problem with utilizing the resources you have and wasting them. So our team here has been wasting our resources for almost maybe 5 years now in a row. They've been doing the same thing. Look at I remember there was a time we signed Abu Abra. Abra was the same as Ukalep. Was the same as Ukalep. From Abra we signed Abu Chirambandare, Katviro, and we have Unokovic. And that's the problem in Kaizer Chiefs. They waste our resources. Unokovic was good there. He was good there. He was a perfect number 9 for Kaizer Chiefs. But what happened? Bamhambis and Watato Abore but still Abore with limited resources, they failed to utilize equality players and Nokovic. You see Nokovic there, and now it seems like Nokovic maybe it's finished, but it's not finished. It's that the tutorial teams with limited resources. Because of Chiefs, they have everything. They have the best. They have teams there, so it's part of resources. Okay, the Chiefs and Chiefs have more resources than Sundowns. When it comes to Inachurena, if you can go like Chiefs Village, you can see this is a world class like training facility of a team. Like Sundowns don't even have that. Sundowns. Sundowns they invest more on buying players than investing on maybe infrastructures like with their resources they have. Because now they have resources, but but people will come and blame Chiefs and say Chiefs is not doing well. But the Chiefs, they are doing well on the side of infrastructures and some things, but they cannot combine that ngama-signings wabo. But i-Sundowns bona are best at combining ama-signing wabo but leaving ama-infrastructures wabo. Because of going there, the i-Sundowns i-trainer khona, angeke ubelieve nokuthi la kutrainela i-Sundowns, like the way ngakhona, indawo yakhona is not that up to standard in terms of like ama-resources wabo. You can clearly see ukuthi nabo, they are wasting some of their resources. So it's not only Chiefs that are wasting ama-resources wabo. Nama teams nabo, they are doing like baya better nabo when it comes to those things. And you have teams like abo let me say CS Galactic, abo Skukuni. Like if you go laba training la corner, you wouldn't say ukuthi team yako DStv inga trainer here. Like the way pitch corner, it's downgraded. Aguna lutho, but they still play matches day in day out. Like that's one of those things. The Mama team have more resources and they still can use their resources. Some Mama team have less resources, but they still be able to get results when to come to performances and players work. So our team, in the Kaizer Chiefs, has more resources, but they cannot use resources and combine them with playing performances. And teams like Cabo Sundowns now, they have less resources when it comes to infrastructure and training grounds, but they still perform.
Let me bring in Vutare. Vutare, welcome to the show, my brother. How are you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
No, I'm good. In this part of the conversation, I wanna zone in on the resources because, you know, they tell us that they don't have money or they some have money, but then when you watch the decisions that they make with the resources that they have, whether it be you have more resources or less resources. So I want to ask it in two ways. One, you have teams with resources. I'll use Chiefs as an example. I understand that maybe they don't want to sign player X because player X is expensive, right? But then when you balance it with the mistakes that they've made in trying to get a player to play player X's position, for me, it looks like they've spent close to, or in some places even more than what they would have if they went for player X from the first place. Then with the smaller teams, I understand that they can't afford to get their main targets, but surely they can afford to go, you know what, even if it's a reject from Sundowns or it's a cut price deal, let's make sure that this player that we're getting fits into our team, because we don't have the money to sit there and make mistake after mistake after mistake. What do you think about those two things?
First, I'll start with the not resource one. The reasons why teams that are not resourced, they go for players that are reject, but they don't fit in the style. Some of the things is trying to increase the fan base. So any team will go for an illegal, even if they don't play the illegal kind of football, because illegal comes with a specific fan base. So that's the mistake that there are others are doing. They're looking for numbers more than the quality of football they will play. So it's not like I will literally blame them for that. So, but the resource one, I don't know why, but it seems like maybe the problem is, as I said, for me, I think it's the agent problem. I did say last time it's the agent problem where agent X has a good relationship with Kaizer Chiefs. So his players, whether they're good for Kaizer Chiefs or not, they will sign for Kaizer Chiefs because that agent X has a good relationship with Kaizer Chiefs. If not, then it will sign good quality players. I think the agent game has killed a lot of football players. They've killed how good the team scouts. Because back in the days, players were signing without agents. And you could tell the quality of players were signing because there was no middleman. Now, agent X, Kabibi can look at Mike Habibi. I can't say his name properly. Look at the deals he makes in the PSL, my man. Some of the players, you can question why they're at Sundowns. But he's making the deal. Why don't you ask yourself why?
But then shouldn't we look at Chiefs and say, but Chiefs, shouldn't we look at Chiefs and say, But Chiefs, you've got a great relationship with Agent X. That's great. But shouldn't you then, if you do have the relationship, say to Agent X, you've got 12 players that you've signed that are under you. There's 2 of them that we see that will fit what we want to do. So we want to go for those 2. Instead of us just accepting the other ones that aren't going to fit and it's just because of relationship. That's a waste of money for me.
It's definitely a waste of money, and in a long, it's a definite waste of money, and the team will start realizing that because the agents are making money, but as a club, you sign a player, the next day it's released. But also, I wanted to say, I don't know if you saw the comment of Ukele.
Yeah, I saw it. Thank God, bad decision.
Yeah, it shows how bad Chiefs is at some point. You can tell that there is back problem. There is a player who was signed by management but not by the coach. And I'm telling you now, Atazwane never wanted the player, but the team wanted the player. So they signed him. His life was a living hell because of Atazwane. It was not the player that he wanted. So some of the things is that the team will say, but this is the striker that we want in the club. He's tall, he's bossy, his aggression, maybe he can fit well. And Zwane says, no, I don't want. And then eventually, Zwane will say yes, because when his team doesn't score, they will say, but we gave you a striker that you refused. So now the problem is the argument between the management and the coaches. So for me, I feel like teams will start saying, coach, here is the budget, sell and buy. Basically, you manage the finances. If they give you a budget of 10 million rand, for example, you'll buy the players you want. For you to buy more players, you might have to you might have to sell certain players. Let it be a trading thing, and then coach will take proper accountability, and then there will be less money spent. That's my argument. I feel like if teams can start doing it, there will be less money spent.
Okay. Lufuno, welcome to the show. How are you doing, my brother?
Good evening, man. Good afternoon, evening, because I'm coming from night shift. Sorry.
No stress, my brother, no stress. I want to ask you the same questions because now I feel like these resources, man, teams tell us they don't have money, but the type of mistakes that they're making are costly mistakes. And you look at a good example, I'd say, for good management is Supersport. Supersport doesn't seem to waste any money or energy. They only bring in the players that they need to bring in. They only bring in players that will fit in what Gavin Hunt wants to do. They make sure that with every cent that they make, they're trying to look out for it. Why don't we see that in the smaller teams who say that they don't have money, but also in the bigger teams, the guys like Abu Chiefs, who we're saying it's business, that they're not going to sign a player now because he's expensive. But then they're going to make 5 mistakes after that in the same position that they wanted to fill that will cost as much as that guy. Tell me what you think about that.
You take one of the examples that I wanted to give you. Now, I want to give in a different perspective because I don't feel like football is... I feel like football is growing and South African football is behind in terms of management. When they do things in a old-fashioned management. And then if you look at management, that the way it's growing, the management has to be a team behind it. And now into like for an example, I FIF Chiefs, and then I look at other people, other teams, and so SuperSport. They have management of like if you look at even the under 18, under 19, and they have a striking coach from starting from everybody. Chiefs doesn't have those things. And when you look at those things when they come together, they seem like something that was meant to be. As we just pick someone and we pick someone who's gonna fit into management because they agree with Motaungs. But in terms of those Motaungs that do they fit into what Chiefs want to do? No. Motaungs, they would do what they want to do. And the coach want to do certain things. And we will go and pick up certain coaches because they will play the same style, they say play the same things that you want them to do. And they don't play what fans want. Because if you look at there are a lot of coaches out there that they can play the way Chiefs, they're gonna bring the fans back. Even those small teams that you give an example with them, Those small teams, they have a problem as well because they copy to those other teams. They go out there, do your own thing, do your own research before you buy a team. Because you cannot just wake up and say, I'm buying a team. You buy a team, you don't know anything. Like this lady of Royal AM. She doesn't know like a damn thing about football. So sorry for language. She doesn't know a damn thing about football. But she like the way people who are advising her, they don't know what they're doing. And also she doesn't know what she's doing. That's why you see her team has money, yes, but there are decisions behind the management. It's a very wasteful management because they don't know what they're doing. And she will fire certain people because they don't do whatever she wants. The people they will always fire it. So the Sundowns. The Sundowns, they have their team behind the scene. They're doing a very good job. I was listening to Sinky Munis the other day when they signed Tembazwan. Like Motsepe was overseas, but they had to make a Skype, and then just to talk, like they talk to Sinky, and then they make us like when they like give him talk to him via Skype. He didn't know anything about that player, but the people who were there know about the player. He just said to the management, give him what he wants. Because he knows that it's gonna benefit him from the long run. But when we do things that what's gonna benefit the Motaungs, what are gonna benefit certain managers. This guy, Wachiti I come from Limpopo, so many. This guy Wachiti even himself, he didn't know anything about football. But the people that he keeps behind him as well. Like he was doing those things of saying, I have money, copying the Motsepes, but he didn't know anything about football. He just wanted to be in a football. That's why you see him selling a team, buying another one, coming back. He wants.
I think we just cut the.
He didn't know anything about football. People who are behind him, they were sabotaging him. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
No. Go on.
So,
go on. You just cut there.
I think there was a call. Yeah, I think there was a call on my side.
Okay.
So that's why you see a problem right now. We end up not knowing what we want because what the management want and what the fans want because they are not connecting in terms of football. Our football is outdated. Our management style is outdated. You get that even into Bafana. Bafana is struggling with the same thing. We are struggling with the same. That's why you see a problem, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. No, thank you so much.
Our problem.
I think we just. I'm gonna come back.
Continue.
I'm gonna come back. I think for me, on my end, on this specific one, I just feel like things work all together. You have a club. You have a style of play you want to play. That informs the coach you're going to get. That informs the technical director you're going to get. That informs, at the end, the players you're going to get. But if those things are disconnected, everything tends to fail because I don't believe in a club. For example, I don't believe in a club giving a coach carte blanche to do everything. I believe in a club going, we want to be an attacking club. Think Barcelona. We want to play tiki-taka. Pep came in and evolved our football. We're playing tiki-taka. As Barcelona, we've decided we want to play tiki-taka. When Pep leaves, we need to know that we're going to get a coach that can play this football. So that even if we're signing without the coach being there or we're promoting players from development, we know that the style of play is the chain. And everything fits into each other. When Liverpool brought to Klopp, Liverpool first made a determination of, we want to play football like this, and we see Klopp as being the guy. Then they got to Klopp. Then they got the players. Now, if they want to stay with that style of play, should Klopp leave, now they know we're going to go look for a coach that plays like him in order to take advantage of the players we have or the players we can get for this position. Right, but in the PSL, it seems that like everybody's just doing everything else. On the targets conversation, yes, teams are not going to be able to get all their targets. But if you watch, If you watch, there was that documentary thing they did, Manchester City. When Manchester City is signing players, Pep gives them 5 guys and says, these are the 5 guys who have this attribute that I want in my team. Please, if you can't get me the top guy, these are 5 other names. At Liverpool, they come with analytics. So Klopp says, I want a player that can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the analytics guys go back, they punch it into whatever their models and all of that, and they come up with X amount of players that fit what Klopp wants to do. Yes, the top one may be the name that you want, let's say. But then all of the other ones can at the very least do the thing that you want to do in your team. That's what I'm arguing about, because Chiefs will go, we don't want to sign this player, right? Because it's too expensive. We don't want to spend that money. Né? But the player they bring in doesn't even match anything or any of the attributes of that player that they said they want to bring in the first place, right? So now we sit with a position that has a need, and you're just cycling in people that don't match the thing you're looking for. And those are costly mistakes as well. Instead of going, it's fine, we can't get Uzbanbani. Let's go get the second best one, the third best one, the fourth best one, the fifth best one of what we want to do as a team, right? Not just I'm signing just because. Look at the strikers we've signed. Duprea is different to Biminyimana, who's different to Saile, who's different to Chivavairo. Are you telling me that there was a plan here when they were signing these guys? You know, I've already spoken about the defense, for example. We've seen Utube, Ungobo. We've seen Abo Kwinika in and out. Mato was taken out. We've seen Tove play center back. We've seen, these are all decisions that are costly decisions. So can we really say that these guys were not spending money or whatever? They've spent money. These are salaries. These are signing fees. These are all these things. Instead of saying, you know what, this is what we value in a defender. Let's go get a defender that can do this thing. But it seems as though at Chiefs, everybody's auditioning. Mart is different to Stebe, is different to Castillo, is different to Mtanzane, is different to Patu Chetsonyange, is different to Umdu. All of these people, you don't know, you don't even see what the plan is to say, okay, they want to play this type of football. But if you go to a Sundowns, from position 1 to position 2 to the alternatives for each of the positions, you see, oh, this is what they wanted to do. So when this player comes in to replace this one, you understand what type of game he's playing, you know?
I think Mr. Motaung is failing because he just brought his family inside and put the family, bombarding the family inside. They fire them, give them a chair, give them anything that they could do at home with their money or whatever. Give them different things and bring in people who know football, follow the procedure, go somewhere and learn about it. And those people, we have people who are studying for those things. Even if he doesn't come from anywhere, somewhere else, he knows about those things, what he talks about. Bring some people from overseas who knows exactly what they're doing, and from there you will learn from those things.
Well,
but we are bypassing
at
football and we are disrespecting football. That's what we're doing.
I'm going to come back because I'm going to give you guys each a closing statement. I think I'm going to end it there. There's still questions I want to ask, but I'm going to end it there for time. Black Butterfly, can you give me your closing statements for today?
Okay. As I think we've all come to the conclusion and the synopsis that you need to bring in a player for your style of football, for what you require. Hence, even if that player doesn't do well, you can bring someone from the bench who's going to fit in and is going to play according to the style of the team. Right?
Yes.
You look at, as I said, Barcelona, whoever, and yes, we're constantly making these comparisons, but it's comparisons that are needed. Hence, I'm saying, if you look at any other team now, you take that striker out, look at Man City now, Mahrez leaves now. They're looking for a certain type of player that can fit into the team, and that goes down to the scouting. Ultimately, if we don't have a technical director, because from me, I think we need to understand what the role is of a technical director firstly. Technical director is supposed to obviously see the overall style of football and manage the club. Yes, you've got a team manager that manages the team, etc., etc. But the technical director, he's in charge of the scouting, the style of football. That's why it's easy for, look at some Keller Zwane and them, etc., to come up from development. They understand, or they basically rooted into the style of football that Chiefs is supposed to play. But if you don't have that, and that's where Ntseki obviously, because if you look at Caleb's stats, I was looking at his stats, obviously, when they announced that he's leaving. Those are good stats. If you look at it on paper, it was good stats. Yes, again, what happened now, the way it seems to me, somewhere there was a fallout and arrogance. This one didn't agree with this one. Instead of just resolving it there was egos involved. Hence, the guy is now, he's saying he's happy to leave. But if you look at his stats spoke. He speaks probably better than, if you look at it on paper, better than most players in the team as well. I mean, out of 14 games, 7 goals, the rate is good. You know what I mean? Yet, that's why I was offended because he's saying, yeah, he doesn't, he should get another chance, etc. Next thing we see, the guy is leaving. So ultimately, it was this guy, although he's scoring, he didn't fit into Zwane's style of play.
Yes.
What happens now? He has to leave now because why? Nseki and Zwane, you know, they are feres from Bafana days even.
Yeah.
So there's no chance, even with Nseki coming in, that the guy is going to leave. You know what I mean? But Nseki failed already in determining the overall style of football. That's where he needed to then push it down to development. So any player that comes in, he fits into the team. That's the reason why Stellenbosch, they can sell anytime they want. They can sell whoever. They can sell Mendieta. They can sell whoever. But what happens is they'll replace him tomorrow, even with a cheaper player or someone from development, because why? They understand this is what we want. This is what we're looking for. And the scouts understand what we're looking for. Chiefs, I'm sure whoever is even in scouting is just my friends, Kaizer's friends, and I mean Gerald Sibeko's manager of the team. So it speaks a lot to the friendship instead of, do we actually understand what the team requires? Are we scouting for players in that position? And you don't just go buy whatever's in the media because Mtansane played well at Cape Town. Now you're putting him at Chiefs and expecting him to play the same. The style of football is different. It does not fit. Oh, I'm not saying, I'm just throwing
it's example.
Maybe it doesn't fit in the style of Chiefs. Where is he going to play? Do we need to go back and say, hey, we need to look for a tiki-tiki type of player? Where do we get a player with those attributes? If we're talking about our greats, let's go back to Chahupule. Okay. Are we looking for a player similar to that? Yes, I think if you look at Sekgotha, kind of like, but similar attributes, you know what I mean? It's just maybe the skill just wasn't there. But you need to understand, what is the team, what is our style of football, what was our success, and then you start identifying players in those positions. And we have those similar attributes to something that was working well. But it's a twofold thing because football is also evolving. There's new styles coming in. So it's a catch-22.
Okay. Let me bring in Unjala. Closing statements for today.
My closing statements due to Nwaba's topic. You know, I heard you saying Super Sport is doing well, like Bona. Even if they take Kama rejects, they know where to position them. Ne? And the certain team that South Africa was doing well in terms of producing and selling, which was Maritzburg United. But now, unfortunately, they are relegated. Why they were relegated? Because of they sold players and they failed to produce or maybe to sign maybe the same player the similar player than the one that they sold. Like Abu Mabo, Abu Makaring, Abu Ndlovu. They just sold Nabu Kutumel. But they couldn't even produce half of the players that they sold. Which, okay, now we sold this. This is our best player. We need to get a similar player. So now in Jongoba Buusho Manjoguti, like whenever you are signing players, we have to have maybe a top 4. If this one is gonna fail you, if you have a man about number 6, you know, okay, this is our number 1. But if this one is gonna fail us, then we are gonna continue and sign this one. Like I like the fact that you did mention Liverpool, and Liverpool did the same thing. They tried to sign Bellingham. Bellingham rejected them. Kaizer rejected them. Olavia rejected them. But now they just signed a Chinese guy, and this Chinese guy is the same position, but the age, but there's an age difference. So it shows now when it comes to our resources with South Africa, we might have scouts, but the scouting with network is not that equality. It's not the best. Even Nabo Sundowns, they do a mistake. Nabo, they once signed Jeremy Broki. Jeremy Broki didn't even score 1 goal in a single season, but Jeremy Broki coming from Super Sports was quality. They signed Abu Afonso. and then let them go. Nabo Manyisa, like Nabo Libisi. The list is endless. So now it's not only Kaizer Chiefs like signing quality players, and then those players will just eat the dust. They are not even gonna make the starting 11. So it's not a Kaizer Chiefs problem. It's a DSTV Premiership problem. A lot of
How? I think it cut there. What's happening? Glela, we'll come back. We'll come back to you because it seems as though it's cut. Vutlari, closing statements for today?
For me, I think we need to go back to the drawing board, as I said earlier, to avoid all the shenanigans. Give the coach a budget. Let the coach decide the kind of players he wants.
Okay.
If he's selling a certain player, allow a coach to sell a certain player and bring in players that he wants. The problem is in South Africa, you hire a coach for a year, then you want to hire another one. Hence, our teams, they don't want our coaches to take decisions because you can't give a coach all the money and make him decide what the club will look like. But after season is gone. So you need to give a coach 5 years, allow him to do his changes so that he can take proper accountability. But for me, South African football needs to evolve. The ownership of the club needs to learn that the coach decides for everything because he's the manager of the team. He hires based on how he wants it. He decides who to hire, who not to hire. I think we need to go to that route. That's the only way we can eliminate all these problems. That's the only way a coach can take proper accountability. And last thing I wanted to ask you, what really happened?
Hey, man, just repeat that again. It just cut there.
I was saying, I want you to tell me, what do you say about Aubameyang's comments or post? Because it means there is something very big that happened there. It's not just a small thing. What do you think happened?
I think Pimenyimana staying was predicated on maybe a style of play was going to change because Chiefs, there was loan offers that came in and there was, I think, a transfer offer that came in. There was a Wydad offer and a couple from Europe, if I'm not mistaken. So I think, personally, what happened was Chiefs, I don't think, wanted to let him go like that. And I think he realized that, hey, guys, I'm not going to get any chances here. I think he's going to play exactly the way Zwane did, and I didn't get any joy playing there. So I think it was a hostage situation where this man was like, guys, let me go. Let me go. So I think it came to a head. I'm not sure exactly why, but I think there was a massive fight. I believe it was around him leaving because there were offers. So it's probably a situation where Chiefs held on to him, wanted to hold on to him or wanted to keep him. And then he was like, I need to go. And you'll find that part of the agreement for him to leave is a heavy cut on what Chiefs would have to pay to break the contract, I think.
I do agree. That's what I said. I'm saying. Him coming to Kaizer Chiefs, it was a management decision. It was not a coach decision. And you'll find him saying not being happy. So that's why I'm saying, bring us to where a coach needs to decide everything for the club. Don't give the coach a 2-year contract. Give the coach at least a 5-year contract. Allow the coach to build a team. Allow the coach, because if you give a coach 2-year contract, this year he sells player A and B. Next year is his last season. So the next coach needs to carry that burden again. But if you give him 5 years, you know that the first 2 years he has sold, he has brought in players he wants. After 5 years, you decide if you are keeping him or not. He has enough time to build. He has enough time to fight. So, yeah, that's my thing. But thing is happening now. Chiefs has announced
Gonzalez.
What happens to Gonzalez?
I think we'll tackle that. But thank you so much for joining me, Lufuno. Closing statements for today. Still with me, Lufuno? There we go.
Khoza,
Yes.
the
Closing
problem
statements.
right now that let me like sum it up in terms of the things that we're talking about. I think we will win a league by accident, not by the merit. We will win the league by accident now and then, but in terms of winning the league anytime soon, if it's not an accident, if Ntseki doesn't win it by accident, maybe it is like this striker that is coming, scoring goals left and right and center. We take league from Sundowns and we will win it by accident. But in terms of by merit, I don't see it happening anytime soon. That guy that always complain about Chiefs will complain up until he went grey. For us winning the league anytime soon, I don't see it happen. In terms of small teams, I think they have to learn, or will have this thing of buying status, selling a status, feeling to manage the team, and like the status will also always change, or up until PSL comes with the rules of saying you don't change your name anymore. We give you these names and these names and this name. That's when you will see football grow. But up until now, you will see a team without a fans because they change a name. Fans, they don't know what they do, like what is happening. That team doesn't even have a management in terms of recruiting the fans and everything. That's why you see a team play with two people in the stadium because of they don't know who, like, what is that team? What that team stand for? They don't go out there do their own thing. They just assume that we go to the stadium and we play against Chiefs and we win against Chiefs, so fans will come. It will never. We are bypassing football and we are disrespecting football, and it will never happen in this world that we live in. There are teams even in overseas that they will never win the league anytime soon because of what they're doing. And even us in South Africa, that's why you see South Africa doesn't, like, if you look at our football back then, it has a philosophy, although it was like the street philosophy and everything, because every player that comes, they play certain ways. And even it was easy to the national team coach because he knows those players from the way they are playing. Right now, if you look at the coaches that they are playing in the PSL, they play defensive football, all of them, because they don't want to be fired. And then you go to a national team, he plays playing the same way because he doesn't want to be fired. Because anything that happens, we look at, we don't look at the diagnosis. We look at what the coaches is doing and think, okay, the coaches and everything. And fans also contributed. They chase for the coach and everything. Chase them down, chase everybody who's up there. Go to beat them up. Don't beat the coaches up. Because they don't know anything. They're just given what they can work with. And they're trying to make it work. Behind the scenes, they are feeling the heat just more than what you are feeling. Because they've been told, we're going to fire you if you don't do certain things. There are teams that will tell you, you have to include that player in the first 11, otherwise we'll fire you. And that's a bypassing football, my friend.
Okay. No, Lufuno, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you very much.
I hope to see you on other days as well.
If I'm not working, I'm working night shift this week up until Monday, then we'll talk another day.
No stress. Thank you so much. Guys, remember the show happens Monday to Friday, 12:30 in the afternoon. Then Monday to Wednesday at 8 p.m. You can find all of the episodes on Facebook. I think just to look, here's my thing, man. I think one of the main reasons for this show is to ask the questions that we need to ask. Guys, football, for me, it's not rocket science. And I'm not one of those people in SA that says that everybody needs to play a specific type of football. I just look at teams and say, pick a style of play and then build around those things. If you're going to be defensive, I need you to then be the best defensive team that you can be. And that means when you go scout for a coach, don't buy 10 cans. Because you're trying to play defensive football. Why bring 10 in, right? Don't buy player X because that player doesn't fit into the style of play that you want to play, right? It's very simple. You get what I mean? There's a decision that needs to be made by each of the teams in the PSL that, guys, we want to play like this. And when you play like that, it will be a little bit harder to find the coaches. You're not going to be able to go from 10-10s to Middendorp to that coach to that coach. You're going to have to stay with this style of play of yours, right? but it's gonna help you in the long run. Save money, you spend resources correctly, maybe even get fans and things back. You get what I mean? That's why I'm like, I struggle with these teams because they've got examples all over the world. They've got examples, guys. We know Barcelona plays, used to play a specific type of football, tiki-taka. So that means whatever coach I'm going to bring into Barcelona has to follow Upep, has to follow Luis Enrique. Now it's Xavi, because they understand that this is, as a team, this is what we want to do. And once you've got that, finding players is going to be very simple. The secondary thing that I want to say is, remember, guys, when you go into a transfer window, you have your A signings. Yes, you have your top quality dream signings. But you have to have other people that fill in those things. So it's either you're going for a certain quality, which will then go for the bigger team. So I'm expecting Kaizer Chiefs to be able to get players of a certain quality, right? So maybe Kapinga is not the guy I want, but there's these three players that play like Kapinga at these different teams that I can get because they're of a certain quality and they play the way Kapinga plays. When you're at a smaller team, look at it by attributes. I want a player that can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you go, who's available in the market, whether it be the rejects, whether it be the development guys, but the smaller teams then go, we're focusing on having a specific thing that we want. We want a central defensive midfielder who can trap the ball, who can turn around, who can play like this. Who are my options? Okay, Sundowns is letting go of this guy is available. In development, there's that guy. Go MDC, there's a guy. Then those are your options. You can't get this one, you get this one, you get this one, you get this one. You finally get a player, right? And that player, at least you know, they will play the football that you want to play, right? So you're saving money from going all over the place. These are simple things, guys, for me, or for people who watch football. These are simple things that our clubs are not doing. That's why you find Pimenyimana. That's why. Nurkovic, Pimenyimana, Ashley Dupré, Saile, Chivavairo. What's the pattern? What type of striker is Chiefs looking at? I can't tell you. Castillo, Stebe, Mart, Patuchetso Nange, who else? Let's include the other guys. Mtanzane. What's the pattern that Chiefs is trying to get here? Or are they just signing for signing's sake, right? And this, unfortunately, has become our whole league. Defense. Matoho Ngobo. Quinika, Kemang Dube, Torres now playing centre back. What's the pattern of what we're trying to get? These are the questions that we need to ask. And we need to ask them of the whole league. Yes, we're looking at Chiefs, fine. Chiefs is in the news every day. But what about the rest of the teams? When you say Avocado also, all of a sudden, immediately he's out of Chiefs, he's got a job. When you see these guys, immediately they leave the team, they're into a job. One of the questions I wanted to ask is, this is part of the reason why we don't see sales happening in our league. Think about it. All of the players that get released from Chiefs, Pirates, Sundowns, no sales are happening. It's all free agents. But anyway, guys, it's part of, like, we need to start thinking our football, guys. We need to start, like, really asking questions because, again, I will say it one more time, and I say this almost every show. My Lula is young, KTS. I'm talking about when a player is 28 and has to leave a Sundowns, Chiefs, or Pirates. When they're older, how come we're not seeing it the same way we see it in England, where a team can still make money from their older players? Why? For example, not Abo Pesita, Abo Mailula, the younger guys. I'm saying when somebody has played at Chiefs for 5 years, why is it that Chiefs can't sell that player? It's always a release. But anyway, these are the questions that we need to ask about our football, guys. Our football, when you ask the simple questions, it's very messy, PSL. They don't have rhyme to reason. A team will tell you they don't have money to sign X amount of players today. Jiggy, they're in South America. A team will tell you that we don't have money in order to do this, but they're willing to make 10 mistakes in a position. A team will tell you that they don't have cash, but they'll go through 39 coaches in 10 years. Tell me how much money has been paid by Chipa to coaches. Tell me how much has been paid by Uchipa. Gavin alone, his contract alone, how much was paid? Now you're going to tell me that that same team is complaining about money, stipends, PSL and all of that stuff, when they're doing that on their own. Come on, guys. Let's ask questions, man. Let's ask these questions. In any case, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Tebza, we'll find time. There's been a lot of matches that have been played, so I haven't been able to bring in the European stuff and the EPL stuff. So I'll find time possibly next week. It's just that watch-alongs and all of that have been catching up to me. Guys, please follow if you have not followed. Please also do me a favor. I'm not allowed to put ads on any of my live content on YouTube and on Facebook. So on Facebook, I've made a subscriber hub where I'm going to be releasing content and doing exclusive lives and things like that. It's 18 Rand a month. So please support me on that side to keep all of this on and to carry on doing this. Please help me out if you can. On Facebook, Overthinking Football. The links are in this TikTok profile. There's a link there. But like I said, Monday to Friday, 12:30 in the afternoon. Monday to Wednesday, 8 p.m. I'm here. And also some watch-alongs. If you want to watch any of the other previous conversations we've had, check it out on Facebook. Check it out on YouTube. These are the type of convos we have a lot. So I think you guys will enjoy that content. And there's other content that I put up on YouTube and on Facebook. So if you could please help me out there, because I'm allowed to monetize upload content. I'm not allowed to monetize live content on Facebook. So please help me out if you please can. Anyway, I'll see you guys then tomorrow, 12:30. Let's carry on having these convos, man. Let's see on this side, the Facebook side. For me, I think they are. For example, Sundowns want to win the league every season, compete at the highest level. They go for players that will help them do so. At Chiefs, it's all about marketing and brand. They're doing excellent in that department. Pirates, it was not clear at first, but now it's clear they want to compete. Start doing other teams like Supersport, Cape Town City and others just want to remain in the league. Some develop players and sell them. So if all the teams are doing the same thing, that's when I think we'll be judging whether they're doing a proper job or not. But at the moment, I think every team is doing well in terms of what they want to achieve. I hear you. And that's why I'm saying that I'm not asking Richard Bay to win the league. That's why I wanted to attack it from different angles. I'm not asking Richard Bay to win the league. But you can't say Richard Bay is struggling for money and then they make 10 signings that don't make sense that also cripple the team. You get what I mean? That's what I'm saying. You can't say Chipa wants to do well financially. Let's go from a financial standpoint. If every day you have to pay severance fees to coaches, right? Then I'm going to ask you, but then are you really, like again, the example I used, if I'm broke, proper broke, all the way broke, there's decisions I will make because I'm broke. But these teams are not even making those decisions. So can we really say that they're doing everything in their power? They're doing, when they're making costly mistakes, when they're not moving forward, when they're signing new coaches every day, when every day there's another financial scandal, you'd imagine that those guys would at least want to do well. Fine, I can't afford to buy Ukapinga. But you know what, as Richards Bay, I'm going to sign an MDC player who can maybe who has attributes of Ukapinga. So that when we play in our lane, I know that I'm developing the player, but also I'm getting the style of play that I want to play, and we're winning with it. May not be winning to go win the league, but we're doing well enough with it. But now I can't want this guy, then I sign a completely opposite player, and then it's like, what are you trying to do here? Because now you're losing, and you're paying a salary on that side that you shouldn't be paying because the player doesn't fit you. These type of things. But anyway, guys, I'll see you guys tomorrow, 12:30.